Welcome to the live stream. SmartHelping here. We're going to get into a lot of stuff today. First, three things. Hit the join button if you want. Support the stream. Talk in the chat. I'll Q&A anything there. Hit the like. Hit the subscribe. What we're doing today is mixed use real estate. And I actually need a sound check. Hopefully this is sounding okay. We also might have a couple people in here asking some question on a manufacturing model and a rental business model that they purchased. So if they come in, we'll see what they got to say. Before I get going, we'll do the free drawing. So every week I'll use this rand between function, and if you bought a template, you're in a list. Now, if you hit stop when I send you out that quarterly update, then I'll remove you from the list. But if you're in it still, you've got a number and you can win free template. 452 is the number this week. Let me remember that. 452 is the winner. Now, you can choose any template from smarthelping.com, and I'll email you after the stream. I'll send it over. I'm going to try and zoom in a bit to 150 on this, make it easier. So, mixed use real estate. There's a lot of places to go. I've done some multifamily real estate models. I've done real estate development, and I've done a whole bunch of different custom models around that. Today, we're going to do mixed use. Now, what mixed use does is you're essentially buying a building or a couple buildings in an area, and some square footage is going to be used for retail. Some square footage could be for residential apartments. Some square footage could be for, I don't know, a museum, a food places, shops, malls, whatever the case might be. And it's mainly driven by the share of square feet that each place has. Now, before I get going any further, I'm checking my sound because I want to make sure you can hear me. So 1 second while I do this. Test. Okay, good. That's perfect.
Test. Okay, good. That's perfect. Test.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Perfect. Oh man. So I'm just going slow and steady here today because I'm tired, but we're gonna try to pound this out. Let's just put so this is going to be a 10-year model, monthly and annual, for sure. And we're going to have, I wanted to do it so there's a development phase and you can see the timing of the development and then when rent starts. So, and yeah, let's just start. So we'll do, and there's just so many ways you could set it up, so I'm trying to think of the best. All right, so you've got soft and hard costs, let's just start off. And with this, I think it'll be easier to go down the line. Well, 120 months down. So you got this piece of real estate. You're gonna buy, you know, let's say the property. You're gonna have to do construction costs. I kind of want to keep them kind of broad. If we're doing it down like this, we're going over. We're actually going to go to the right. Because there's too much. You need to have more slots here. Now with this, I try to keep consistent everything that's editable. So fill's going to be in light yellow with dark blue text. And I don't want to get too in-depth here, but I mean, let's say you got 20 different costs, and you could define based on the timeline here. We haven't even put a start month. Let's put this real quick, or start year. And I'm actually going to start changing this. So start year is going to be, like, let's say 2022. Hey, Troy. Hey, there we go. That was one of the people I figured would be coming in here. And I think you had a question on the rental model. Correct? You there, Troy? And I'm pretty sure I know what the issue is, but I'll wait and see what he's gonna say here. 2 to 31. You're saying you were putting in dates and purchases, and the accumulation wasn't what you expected. Right? Let me pull it up here real quick because I think I know already what's happening. Let me see. Let me know if you can see this. Where is this at? Industry specific. General rental. Okay. Oh, you probably can't see this, can you? No. Well, if you can hear me, go to your revenue assumptions and in column C and F and I, where it has the month date, make sure you didn't just drag that down. Like, you need to use the drop down to select it so it's always the first day of whatever month it's there, because the sum formula on that, it will only count it if it's the first of the month. So you want to make sure your date is always, like, if it's March, then 3/1/2021 or whatever year, or if it's June, 6/1/2021, whatever the case might be. Make sure it's the first day of that month, and you should be good to go. Now, if you still got a problem, let me know, and we'll see. Because that's what I think is happening with your build, is that it's just not counting the category 2, 3, 4, etc. It's only counting the first row. But I could be wrong. All right, well, hopefully that helped. I'm just building a mixed use here. And if you have any other questions, also just go ahead and type in here if that works. Okay. It did not work. All right, hold on. Let me pull up the sheet you sent. Oh shoot, I gotta log in on a different browser. Let's see what's going on here. One second. I feel like I'm about to get really busy here with stuff. I'm gonna tell this guy to. Okay, here's. Did you? Oh yeah, you sent it. All right, Troy, I'm pulling your sheet up here right now. Let's see what we got. So, and sorry, well, there's no one else in here, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so revenue. Yeah, you have the first month. That's good. So 5, 10, 15. Oh, but look at column F. Column F and I and L have, well, column I has 10-1, 10-2, 10-3. Column F has 4-1, 4-2, 4-3. So change those to 1 the first day of those months, and you should be good. Yeah, it looks like F and I were the days were going down. No, I know. I can't on my my streaming thing. I can't, like, it's locked into the Excel document I'm in, and I can't figure out how to change it. So, but I have your sheet up, and I was looking at it, and just go to the revenue assumptions, column F, and column I on the document that you sent me of the template for the equipment rental. And column F and I, you need to put the first month of those, first day of those months, like 4-1, 4-1, 4-1, and then 10-1, 10-1, 10-1. Yeah, F and I. These other ones were fine. These were all first. The L, O, R, and U are fine. Yeah, that's definitely what's causing the problem. Okay. And Troy, if you still got issues, feel free to come say something back in the chat, or if you're still there, I'm going to continue on with this build here. Okay, so mixed use, we have development costs. Yeah, Troy, that's definitely what's going on there. And then you should be good. And this will do use. We'll do like 5 uses. That's probably plenty. No worries. Yeah, let me know if you have anything else. Feel free to hop back in and let me know. Alright, so you're building if you're doing a multi-use real estate deal, probably gonna have to build. So, you know, this could be, let's say, a theater. Let's clean this up. Residential, whatever. And you want to separate because your lender, investors, or somebody, or yourself just want to see the separate costs of each area. So we'll aggregate all this. And we're also going to put this up at the top. Just formatting. Honestly, a lot of Excel work, the time it takes is almost just as hard as just knowing what to do to make it look like clear. Okay, so if we put some numbers, make sure everything's flowing right. Okay. So we've got our development costs of use 1, 2, 3, and 4. Probably put a square foot. In the control tab, we'll put usage names. So let's say a theater, residential. Theater, you're going to build a residential. What else? We could say food, places, shopping. Is that 1, 2, 3, 4? And then maybe, I don't know, maybe a parking garage or something. So you define it there, and then we'll have that just flow right over to this actually. So we got the theater, residential, food, shopping, parking garage. Now each of them are going to have potentially their own types of revenue and who knows what, but I'm going to show you how we're going to kind of normalize everything. We'll light border this. Let me zoom up here. Start year, that is fine. We have all our costs, and this can also be lightly bordered. Okay, so pretty clear. Got our names and the development costs. And what we're gonna get is a good internal rate of return that's gonna take in that. We're not just gonna say development and construction all happen in year 0 and then we go forward to year 1 through whatever. We're actually gonna allow it to be granular enough to be, we're gonna have essentially a monthly cash flow, and we'll create an internal rate of return off of that up to 10 years. So year 1 through 3 could just be development, or some things are developed, you collect some revenue, and then other things are developed in the future. Control. What else do we want here? I guess right now we'll just leave this as it is. I don't know if I want to do, I'm gonna probably have to do some kind of debt logic. It just gets so complicated. I think the best way is to do an interest only construction loan, which means the debt can be, if there is debt, it could all be equity and investors, but if you do have some debt, it could basically be a loan that potentially could be interest only for a certain amount of months with some interest rate, and then it either accrues or has to be paid monthly. Most likely it accrues, and then on month 13 or whatever, whenever the interest only period ends, it goes to P&I, and then possibly that could have a refi, which is more cash to the investors, and then you got a new debt service after that month, whatever the refi month is. I think that's probably what's going to have to be done. And then any cash flow, the net cash flow after all operations and any exits or refi cash flow, and then net any fees and all that stuff will be, seller fees, will flow to the final cash flow available. And it's actually not, it's easier to do this on a monthly and roll it to an annual rather than just do an annual. So, and I've learned that over doing a bunch of these different ones. Okay, so operations, what do we want to define? Let's see. So we've got these 5 here. We can do, so we want a square foot. Say just making up numbers here, 5,000, 10,000. Now, we probably, you could put in units, but that might be not, relevant for like parking garage. But if it is, I'm gonna put it in here. If it's just one unit, like it's a big, like a theater, you just put one. Residential, let's say there's 25. Oh, offices. I want to do offices. Let's change the first one to offices. Say 20. No, let's say 35 offices, 25 residential, 5 food places, shopping. Maybe 10, and then 1 parking garage. So we then have unit, then we want starting, and here's, we're gonna do, so start month of rent. And this drop down will update if you change the start year, let's say 2023. Then you can see this changes, and then this will change. Well, let me format this. And then see this. Oh, come on. 2023 is now the start of the potential selection. Put it back to 2022. And we'll say, you know, maybe the offices are ready by, you know, May 2022. Residential takes longer. Maybe January of next year. Food places around, you know, year and a half almost. Shopping will go June. And parking garage maybe 2024 or whatever. You can put in whatever your plan and financial, you know, whatever you've got scheduled can fit. So start month of rent, we can put starting rent per unit. So this wouldn't really, you wouldn't be acquiring unless, I guess technically you could just say put acquisition and just put that one-time cost in there, and then maybe there's some renovations happening. Yeah, I guess that's fine. It could be an acquisition. Okay, so then you put rent per unit per month. Oh man, I'm sitting all weird. This hurt my legs. That's better. So let's say, you know, offices $5,000 a month per unit. These are just random numbers. Residential, let's say $1,850. Food, your food vendors are maybe paying you $3,500 a month. Shopping $4,000, and then the parking garage itself. I guess so. Parking garage is kind of like ancillary income. You know, you get money based on tickets, but that's a kind of a big roll up. Like if you have X amount of, people coming through. But so here's the workaround. What you can put in here is there's one unit. You can do the estimated revenue from car parking. And it's going to be some bottom up calculation. Let's say it's, you know, I don't know, 250 cars a day on average. And you just do this because technically this parking garage might be a food place or it might be something else. So I can't just build specific logic for a parking garage. But we can say, okay, let's say 250 cars a day. They pay, you know, on average $15 a day. There's however many operational days in a month that you have. Maybe it's 30 or 25, whatever that might be. And so 250, and so you'd make $112,000 a month. Let's see, 250 cars, $15 a car per day, 30 days. Yeah. So essentially that's like your revenue in a month for the parking garage. And that's all we need to get to. We don't need to annualize this at this point. We just need a monthly. So this will be a dynamic driver. Rent's a dynamic driver. Five. Let's put some more. Let's put 7. Extra slot. And then here we just got to update the reference. So that's, I think 7's good. 7 different uses for your mixed use property or real estate deal or whatever you're doing. So we got this. We've got development happening. We have the rent starting. Now we do annual increase in rent. The hard stuff in this model is probably going to be the financing stuff, and then I'm going to integrate a waterfall into here for a joint venture potentially if you want to do a joint venture with it. So annual rent growth. How do we want to do this? I could make it monthly increase up to a certain, or annual increase up to a certain stabilized rate, like year 1 through 3. You might increase it. Nah, because you're not. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna have to do that because if it's an acquisition, you might increase the rent more in the first few years, and then you get to kind of stabilized rent growth. So, rent growth year 1 to 3. These are gonna have to be wrapped. Let's say 4%. And we'll make it dynamic for each of these. So year 1 to 3, which means essentially you start here for year 1. This is 2 to 3 because year 1's just going to be whatever you define. So year 2 goes up by 4%, year 3 goes up by 4%, and then rent growth normalized years 4 plus. So year 2 we go up, 3 we go up, year 4 we then stabilize to, let's say, 2% or something, just whatever. And yeah, inflation's been up lately, but we'll just say it's 2% right now. And rent goes up by that each year. And you could change the pace of each of, oh, we gotta actually add our 2 in here, our extra slots. So, square foot, units, rent per unit per month. And then based on the units, total monthly rent is the month times the amount of units. And keep in mind, this development has nothing to do with Opex. Opex is not even in here yet. And we're going to define that kind of like how we're doing rent. It'll be a starting amount and then just one expense percentage for how much it grows. I don't know if it's, do we need to separate the Opex for each of these? I mean, if you're doing triple net lease, then you're just collecting rent and the tenants are paying for everything. So you wouldn't have any much or little Opex, but your rents would be, accordingly adjusted. But I think it's good to have the option, so we'll put in Opex, I think. I don't know if we're going to do it for each one individually. probably will have to. Probably gonna have to. Alright, so this rent. So that's pretty solid. To the monthly cash flow, I guess. Detail, because we will roll up into an executive, like kind of an income statement and cash flow after at the end. Don't need this. We could have some helper calcs in here, like average rent per square foot is, so out of these 35 units we're getting 175,000 a month. So per square foot we're getting $35 a month. Average monthly rent per square foot. And I probably could put well, no, that's fine. And then we could total all this up. Oh. So 84,000 square feet, 78 total units. Right. Now weighted average, so does this even make sense? Rent per unit per month. I guess we do a sum product there, I think. So here's all the rents. Here's the units. Divided by the units. So $7,000 on average per unit per month. Now if we add this times this, 616, that should get to here. 6, yeah, that does. So that makes sense here. And you can't just add this up. Well, I guess you could. You're getting 351,000 a month. No. Yeah. No, we got to do the weighted average here, because if you just sum this up, it literally means nothing, because you're getting 35 units at this, 25 at this. Doesn't mean anything to just sum this up or even average it. This is the weighted average. That's the only one you can use. And then total monthly rent, 616. Average month per rent. So this one is going to be that, and then we're dividing by the units again, I believe. So on average, you're getting $18.10 per rent per square foot. So if you have 84,000 total square feet times this, it should equal 616. It does not work. Or times, yeah, that's per square foot. Oh, we gotta go over one more. $7.30, and now if you multiply that by your square feet, you get your 616,250. Okay, that makes sense. And obviously you can zero out any of these or leave them blank if it doesn't make sense or is not relevant to you. It's completely fine. Sorry about that. That's good. So development, operations, monthly cash flow. This will be purple or dark, whatever blue. We want to look at I guess we do Opex. So technically I could do it over here, but I kind of want to do like, I think this is mostly revenue. Rental revenue. And then let's do Opex. So we don't need any of this. The Opex will start the same month that, well, no, hold on. We will need a dynamic schedule for Opex because you might be paying some things before rent. You start collecting rent. And then we'll keep, we only need one of these. Try to keep that the same column. And this could just be this, just a placeholder, just so it kind of looks uniform. Now we have utilities, and these will be the same. This can come down here. Utilities, managers, property taxes. Let's just put all these, let's say, put some random numbers in here. You'll be able to define these based on whatever the cost is. I'm just using generic, like most places have to pay the utilities, managers, property taxes. What else? Permits. Let me find some more common. Oh shoot, we gotta look at occupancy. I'm just gonna paste this in because I have a bunch of extra stuff from another real estate template. So, yeah, let's just paste in all these. Don't really need to be bold either. So this is just a total monthly expense. It's not on a per unit basis, so we can just total that up. Like you've got admin, marketing, management, payroll, utilities, gas, third-party contractors, repair and maintenance. Actually, yeah, let's give this a bold. I'm gonna bold these, it's fine. But these can be whatever. And these are monthly expenses for the entire, like all the offices, not per office unit. It's just for all the offices, for all the residential places. That's your total cost, whatever it might be. And then down at the bottom here would be your monthly total cost for each item of expense. Okay, so get that, start month, the growth, we do need the growth. Put that at the end. Let's just say it's 2%. So now we have a basis for net operating income, which is the revenue here minus all these different costs per month. What we do have to account for is occupancy. Because let's say you got 35 offices, what if only 75% are filled, or it slowly gets up to like a 95% occupancy or whatever. So what we have to do is say starting occupancy, and let me paste these values so they stop changing. Might as well format this now, like 12. Oh yeah, that'll be fine. Average rent per square foot per month. So starting occupancy, and then we do monthly improvement of that. Let's say 25% for 0.01 or whatever. Could be small. And then we want to put in stabilized occupancy. So at some point, you're not, you know, you might start lower and build up and then stay at a level. So we'll say maybe it'll be different for everyone. Let's just say you work up from 2% let's say 75% occupancy. You improve by 0.01% per month until you hit an average occupancy of 95, which means only a 5% vacancy. So that's definitely required. All right, got start year, that, your building development, then we start revenues. This is actually max monthly rent. If you're fully occupied. Let me make sure something real quick. Is this set to... Okay, good, it's public, oh my goodness. Okay, rental revenues. I think we have everything we need for that. Opex. Now the tricky part is where do we want to put this? We'll do debt. Now, you kind of, oh man. We don't really know how much, because these are ongoing, so we're going to have to, before we can do that, we kind of need to know exit, and we're going to assume on exit, the exit cap is going to be everything, not just, well, you know, I really want to make this granular. So let's give each of these an exit multiple, and they'll be based on the net. No, we can't do net operating income because this is net well, technically we do have an NOI for every individual unit. Technically, you know, it'll be revenues for each use type, and then all these different expenses for each use type. So, I mean, yeah, we can do, let's go on the control tab, exit assumptions. So on the exit, it's going to assume, we're not even getting into refi yet or anything. We're going to say on the exit, format this. All we need is exit cap rate, really, right now. So, say, I don't know, 6.5% or something. And we'll look at the NOI at the given exit. Oh, well, we need to exit. How are we gonna do this? I guess we can do it right on here. Exit cap. Right there. It can be different for each one of them. And then also, we can scale exit month. Now, yeah, let's just do right here. On the exit month, we take the NOI of that month times by 12, divided by the exit cap rate to get a valuation for that, that use, whatever it might be. Well, why is that 30/31? Oh, December 30/31. If they're all the same and you're going to exit everything at once, it'll just be the NOI of the whole entire consolidated project. You just put the last month for each of them. If it's different, you can put a different one. Pretty simple. Exit month, exit cap. We've got that. Now let's do the monthly cash flow, which I need to get let's look. Let's look at a monthly detail here. What can I say? Cash flow detail, 10 years. I do like the basic black. And we got a lot of stuff to do here. So first, let's start with the first month. So we have our timeline going out to 31. So there's no year zero. There's no year zero in this model because the reason why, your costs start right here and we're actually counting these months. And we actually put in the year if we do round up, C3 divided by 12. So we're looking at actually the first month that anything even happens, any cost goes out, that's going to trigger where you should be here. Alright, cash flow details. So we want, what's the easiest way? Rental revenues. I guess we do everything in blocks, so we'll say stand by. Get this out of here. Okay. We're going to probably do in sections. So the rental revenue of each of these, and we want, based on a start month, total rent per month. And then we'll do a vacancy, come off of that. Because we actually need to show this number, the rent per unit per month. Grow it at our percentages here. And then based on this, we do the units, the max, we do the occupied units and let them grow up to the max occupancy rate. And then based on the occupancy of units times this, we get the actual rental revenue. But it's important we want to show what the vacancy percentage and dollar amount is. So let's think. So I'm going to show for each of these. Yeah, we're gonna have to go. We're gonna have to go full on. So okay. We're gonna have to go full on like every single section. So if this is less than our start date, then 0. Otherwise, pull the max units. And you can see what we're going to have to do. It's going to show the max units, what that rent per month is, and how it grows, and then what's the max monthly rent. And then we're going to have to show actual occupied units. And then based on that, then we get actual rent and get the vacancy and all that. So it's going to have to be a bunch of sections here. This is max units available. Or I guess we could say online unit available. I don't know if we want to say available. They're not really available. We're saying the units that are ready that can be rented. Max units to be rented, I guess. So we drag this over. So there's the max. Now we got some tricky stuff with this annual growth. Let's see. So monthly rent per unit per type, and the type is just the use that we're doing. Right, so monthly. Sit up. What is this? Get this over here. This isn't even, we don't even have a total for this that would make sense. Just do essentially this, but take okay, so let's think. Now I think we got to do a matrix. And this is always where you get sticky, and these are the most valuable things I do are these matrix here because they're so good at scaling and dynamic logic. Let's go out to 120. We're gonna have to probably go, we might need the year, I'm not sure. So we got our model timeline, then we got each cohort of month. No. Do we need the cohort of months going down? Let's think. I need to know this number. I need to know this rent number and what it is at 4% annual growth. Based on the start month. Okay, so here we go, here we go. So we can go, here's each type. And then we're going to use some exponents here, a little bit of math, which is just super valuable to be looking smart. So we go, no, first of all, if we need a month, actual name of a month in here. Zoom in a little bit so you can see. Right, so we can now say if this equals our start month of the given use, then start counting, then do 1, otherwise 0, and then we go if B4 is greater than 0, then B4 plus 1, otherwise greater than. Start counting. So now we have a basis for how long, you know, each 12-month period is going to be, because you can't just start, you can't raise each one the same if they're going to be starting at different months. Then the rent schedules are going to be on different, you know, timings, which you got to capture. Alright, so we have our matrix counting, so we know the number of months a given item is or use has been up for. We know our second matrix is going to be the year. Now we don't necessarily care about year 1 because we have the year 1. So here's the math. We just do equals this divided by 12 minus 1. Oop. Round up, not rounded. And then a max or a min of this in 0. Min and max are so useful in logic. Wait. Max of that in 0. Man, max. So now we can see, hold on. Yeah, that's right. We don't want to see this until it gets to 1, which would be month 13. There you go, see the 1 in there. So that's the first compounding period. And so we know based on the period how much we need to compound. So now we're deeper into the math here. Now we go, and I'll just do it on one that has a number so I can just think it through. So we go the rate, so the multiple that's going to be applied to the rate is, let me think. I think we could do 1 raised to the 1. Does that make sense? No. Oh, wait. To 2. Hold on. So let's say my rate is 2%, or 4% increase. So rent growth is 4% a year, right? And I want to say, well, what's the multiple that I need to get for my first compounding here? We do. Is it 1 plus the rate raised to this? What am I? Yeah, and so the math is getting the best of me. It's been a bit since I did this. It's got to be greater than the initial start. Let me think. Okay, so if I have 100 and I want to say after the first period it's 104, so my increase is 1.04 for the first time. The second one is a little bit more. Now I need to find, we know the first one should be 1.04. So this raised once is 1.04 plus 1. Right? And then let's pull. So for this year, it's going to be that much. Now we go to year 2. Now that doesn't seem right. Let me do this a different way. 1 plus the rate raised to the period. I think that's it. That's it. Okay, good. 1.0816. You see 1.0816. That's the number. So this is very useful for dynamic, finding the multiple dynamically. All right. So to set up the formula, we need to say this number, and then our rate is okay. So I got the math. We gotta set up our rate schedule. So we're saying year 1, 2, and 3. actually potentially it's different for each one. So hold on. We got to do each use type. Put those in there. And then we have going down. For the first 3 years, it's going to be this. Rent growth. In year 1, well, year 2 and 3. And then 4 on is going to be the stabilized growth. We're going to have to do the same thing for occupancy. Well, no, occupancy is actually monthly growth, so we don't need to do it. That'll be easier. So I want to look up the year, and if it's 2 or 3, grow at 4. Actually, compounding period is going to be 1 or 2, and if compounding period 3 would actually be the start of year 4. So here's what I'm looking up. And I have to do an index match. But the match up here is going to be a partial match, or like a not even exact match. All right, get back in our matrix. So I want index, pull this. If my row matches this, and that's an exact match. But my column, I want to match the year, the compounding year period here, with this, and I don't want an exact match. And then at 0 say if error. Right, so index. Block all this. Try to clean this up here. Get rid of that. Wait, what's B18? Lock this. Hold on a second. That can flow. Okay, so hold on. This B18 was supposed to be from the validation tab, I think. No. What am I doing? What am I doing? Validation. D1 to G8 match the row. How did this get over here? Okay, this is that. And then B12 is that. All I want is to pull the percentages. See if that, what? Oh dear. What? Oh, sometimes the index match formula is really annoying. All right. So I got a 1 here. I need to go. I should be pulling offices 1 and pulling 4%. Oh, shoot. Alright, let's focus here. Index. Here. Match. Row. This. Based on this. Exact match. Column, which is across to match the year with this. Oh, I think I know what I did. I went from E to G instead of D. Now 4%, and this does not need to be an exact match. Still got 4%. Lock, clear the reference to the sheet. Lock. That can flow. Lock. Oh, shoot. What the heck? Get rid of that period. Now, if error, it's fine. 0. Fingers crossed. Okay, did not work, so that's not good. So as soon as we get to year 4, it didn't work. And I thought it would because we're not doing an exact match. Now I barely ever do this with the index, so let's see, match type. Let's try a 1. There we go. 1 works. So 1 will pull 2%. Good. Oh wait, it was pulling, so it was pulling 2% for year 3. Which is technically year 4 of the project. And then when it got to 4, it was not doing it because, now, okay, perfect. Okay, we're good. Starts at 4. We go 4%. Now we can reference this to get the right rent rate. And then as soon as we get to year 4, which is technically compounding period 3, now is this actually relevant? Hold on. So we go at 4%. Right, we do the rent amount, which is starting amount, here, only if this is greater than 0. Now here's a trick. Let's really think about this. So we're first year. Now the second year. That's the percentage. So I want to go. This is where it gets real tricky. I want to go up 4% in that year, and again in this year. But then I want to start going up at 2% that logic string is really tough. Let me think. So these percentages actually have to be. So this is this has got to be 1 plus that, whatever that rate is, raised to the period. Which is fine. So we then multiply assumptions, whatever, F5 times this. And there's that increase, which is fine. Oh. Let's go. Wait a second. Hold on. So this is good, but we want this has got to be a min of a max between this value and yeah, because it's never going to go down. It's either going to stay flat or go up. So right here. Okay, so now I got that, and then 5,000 for the first year. So we're good so far. Dang it. If this is greater than 0, then do this. Otherwise, 0. Alright, so we got 5, then we go to 18. Now, this goes to 5.2. No, what are you doing? So we've got 104, and then we know after that 108.16, that's good. So the number becomes 452, then 5408, and then so we've gone year 1, and then 2 and 3, and then now the 4th year is this. But now I can't compound it because it's not like it's 4%, 4%, 4%, it's 4%, 4%, 2%. So what I have to do is say if the year is greater than or equal to 3, then what are we doing? Then only increase by 2%. Hold on. This, because this can't go, this is not down. So if, let's think, what does this number need to be? We need to go, well, actually there's no way, I've done this once before, I'm trying to think how I did logic. There's no way to do this easily. let's think. How do we go dynamically when the third year is up for a given use? How do we start increasing at a different rate? But we're showing it on a monthly basis. I guess we could do like we do 10 years across the top, and you start with year 2 and say, so this would be just 100%. Year 1 is always 100% of whatever it is, right? And then this, year 2 is whatever that is, and then year 3 is this times this plus this. 10816, we know that number we want, and then we just go equals this times this plus this, and then G is locked, and that's our number, and we just looked that up. So 08, and technically this is a multiple. That's easier to look at it as a multiple. So I start at year 1 is 1, 1.04, 1.08, whatever, and then it's slower from there. And I just multiply this by whatever, because let's say we start at 5,000. Now just do this times, actually we'll overdo this times this. So this is technically year 1. We'll do it right on the same timeline. So 52, 5408, 5516, which if you see, that is 2% now instead of 4. So this is our table here. We just reference this times the rate, and that's as simple as we go. So we don't need any of this. Oh, this is super simple. We'll just do index and just give me this entire row if I'm matching the year, which would be this plus 1. Now, hold on. Right. So this is 100, 100, 100. And we can literally take the rent amount and multiply it by whatever this percentage is, or this multiple. I'm going to put it as a multiple. So look at this, super easy. This times rent. That's all we have to do. Very simple. And that's our monthly rent. And it should follow that. Yep, looks good. Looks good, and then we should see that. Yep, 5516. And there you have it. There's your monthly rent per unit increased dynamically. We're just using, we end at 6212. Well, we don't get that far unless we go the first month. Yeah, 6212 for the last month. Perfect. All right. There's your monthly rent. So you multiply that into there. All right, so each type, here's a monthly rent, it goes up. What else do we need? Rent, units we have. So the max, so this, we now go max rental revenue. Oh, don't need that. Max rental revenue. Simply this times the units. And that makes sense. We're 175. Whenever it starts, other ones start up. You're at 46, 17, and 40. Yep. And this is not, this is a calculation row. Calculation row. Okay, so pretty simple. Units, so offices, 35 units, 5,200 a month per unit. Max rent is that. Now the tricky part is occupied units, and this is going to be this is going to be a pro forma, and it'll look more like a pro forma when we group all the big stuff together. All right, so now we have actual units rented. And this is going to go below, so this is space. And then above that's going to go vacancy units. And we actually don't need to know, we need to know the occupancy, and then we get back into the vacancy. So occupancy is simply, well, let's do another matrix here. Can't get enough. if this equals 0, then 0 otherwise. Give me the starting occupancy. And then we go over if this is greater than 0, then do this times occupancy improvement. Actually, this plus this. Otherwise, go there. And then we're also going to take, oh, that didn't work. If this is greater than 0, this plus so it starts counting. Oh, now what happened? If n I think we need to do if n equals 1. Or no, hold on. If okay, hold on, let's see if that one did it. Nope. So that equals 1. If n5 equals 1, then operations L6. Okay, so L6. K. No. Okay, this is working. Oh. Oh, we gotta leave the first one like it is. I think we're good. Okay, so that's growing, they're growing, they're all growing. Okay, perfect. Now here's the thing. The max that this can be is max of that, or min, I'm sorry, min of this whole result, otherwise the stabilized occupancy, because we can't go over that. So essentially saying on the start month, start at whatever the occupancy starting rate is, grow at X percent, grow the occupancy by X percent, which not multiply but just increase the occupancy by that percentage by adding each month until you get to 95 in this case, which we never do. Let's say this was 0.1. Still didn't. Let's say 0.3. Just so you can see. There we go. And then this is a great chart to do conditional formatting on. Color scale. Actually, it didn't look as cool as I thought it was going to be. Hold on. Is this? What is going on? I guess because the 0% are just so different. Hold on. Holy cow, it's almost 7 o'clock. We do got one viewer in here though. What's going on? I'm trying to do a color scale here. I think it's 0. So let's say all these start the same. See, this shading is what I want to see. Normally looks, I guess that's right. Screw the color scale, clear it. Okay. Actual units rented, we take total units max times our occupancy. Right there. And this, let's show a month going forward, so it looks. Make sure the logic's working. So actual units rented. It's there. So slowly gaining towards the max. Vacant units is just the max minus that. And an average vacancy would be this here divided by that count 0. 5% makes sense, and we should be around 75%. Or 25, yep. Average vacancy rate. Looks good. Now we could do, let's zoom out a little. We could do revenue. So here's the max monthly revenue. We can now do gross monthly rental revenue. Total gross. And the nice thing about having this granular is we can actually show each one individually if we need to do the net operating income and different things with that. So the gross is simply, we take actual rented amount times, where do we go here? Actual rented amount times our matrix rent, which accounts for rent growth. And we grow the first 2 years at an X% per year, and then the third year, which actually year 4 of the thing, grows at a stabilized rate. And then that's going to be different if, as the vacancy changes, this starts to go up. So you've got a couple factors here. You've got vacancy happening, and you've also got rent growth happening. So we get a nice little flow here. Now this will probably look like a good color scale, I think. Yeah. I like that one. So that's a gross rent. And let's go up one more. And let's actually do vacancy amount loss. So here's this, and then it's actually, oh, come on, get over there. You're actually losing this minus this. And we don't need a color scale on the vacancy. Okay. Let's get this left border looking like the rest of them. And we can always group these up so we can see just high level line items. So max units, max rent, vacant units, actual units rented, total vacancy loss, and then gross rent. Now we want to be able to check this. Shoot's getting late. I need to go try to work out tonight. Let me make sure I got these labeled right. Max units, monthly rent per unit max. Which grows. And then what changes, so this grows, but what changes is really you've got the vacancy changing. The vacant units is going down here in this case. So let's just do a quick check, like so this one, 5,200 units rented is 29, 148, and then 148 minus this, 182, which should be the max, yeah. Alright, so that looks like it's checking out. Gross monthly rental revenue. I think we're good. I think we're good. And this is still growing. Well, let's see. Is that still going to be 2%? Yeah, I guess it is because I guess that's 2% because we're already at the max vacancy. Now, if the vacancy were still improving, then this change might be a little bit different, and that's why you might see a little bit of a different, you're seeing monthly changes in the rental because of vacancy changes over time. We'll annualize all this or group these values up into an annual amount when we're closer to the end. Just looking over things right now. So max monthly rent. That looks fine. We haven't even got into Opex, but we did a lot on the revenue, which is always hard with vacancy scaling and occupancy. monthly cash flow detail. So rented units, monthly rent per unit type. There's the max, there's vacancy. So this vacancy loss is just the max against that. Which should be around 75% or 25, and yeah, it starts to improve over time. So you can see average vacancy is going down, and then we could also put, so that's vacancy, we can also put average occupancy. Which is this divided by our this, which makes sense. You start at 75 and go up to eventually 95. That looks good. We don't need, this is fine. That percentage is already there, average vacancy. So we get to gross monthly rent of what's going on here based on, and you can adjust these however you want. Like now I might do it now. You're gonna manually be putting in these costs, and then you're gonna have to know when each use type, when the revenue starts. So you'll have to manually define that, which is fine. It's pretty easy to configure. Just pick the month and make sure that lines up with what your development schedule is. We'll work on debt next week. We'll continue on the pro forma. So we got essentially down to gross revenue. We'll add in Opex, cash flow, then we'll get into the debt, and then we'll get into the distributions, exit value. We'll also do something with the refi. But mainly this is, so we got some new logic here. I've never done this exactly with a mixed use, and tried to build the assumptions to tailor towards that. The development schedule's new. I really don't normally do this, but I think that was pretty useful. This makes it real easy to see, okay, what costs are going out and when. For development, what's your operations look like when you start, being able to rent out units, what are you charging for rent? How many units are there? What's your rent growth in year 2 to 3 and year 4 plus? What's the occupancy like? What's stabilized look like? And then when the Opex start, what's the monthly cost of that? And then what's the annual change of those expenses? We'll get down to monthly net operating income, and we'll go from there. So, pretty cool stuff, and I am really tired. It's been a long day, so I will see you guys next Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern. If you have any QA question on previous models, you can ask me here in the chat during the live stream, and I will help you as long as it takes, as long as it's just like a question or clarification. I'm not going to sit here and do custom work, but I will answer any questions and work with you so you understand what's going on with the model.